This is PIX on Politics Daily with Dan Mannarino.
Hey everybody, welcome to PIX on Politics Daily. I'm Dan Mannarino. It is September 18th. Hopefully you're all having a great day. Let's talk about where things stand. Big news that kind of came out yesterday was Mayor Adams announcing that he would like to see an end to horse-drawn carriages. You know, those horses that kind of go around the city in Central Park. It's been an issue for years. You know, you have fights on both sides of it. We want them. We don't want them. We're going to talk more about that in just a few minutes. Also, in just terms of the race for mayor, we are looking at how things are shaping out with endorsements. Yesterday was big endorsement, Carl Hastie endorsing Zoran Mamdani. And what came out of that press conference was even more interesting was Carl Hastie, who's the leader of the assembly, was asked, what do you support in terms of raising taxes, universal child care, free buses? And he was like, all of it. In terms of the big one, which is raising taxes, you know, the governor said right here on PIX on Politics, it was a no. But he is somebody who would be negotiating with the governor on that very issue. And he pointed to a poll, which was our poll, which showed that 66% of New Yorkers are in favor of actually raising taxes on the wealthy to pay for some of these programs. So that's kind of where things stand. But let's get down to, you know, what we do on this show. We talk about some real issues that are affecting you at home, right? And so there is a bill, a universal daylighting proposed legislation. What does that sound like? What does it mean? Well, it all has to do with parking and what you can see and what you can't see. And the sponsor of it all is Council Member Julie Wan, who is representing the 26th Council District in Western Queens. And she's joining me now to talk more about that. So good to see you.
Good morning, Dan.
So let's talk about this bill that you have, right, for the daylighting. And you know, I'm somebody who drives around New York City sometimes for work. You see others who are trying to, you know, see if there's somebody coming on the corner. They can't because people are illegally parked or so on and so forth. Why propose the bill?
Intro 1138, known as universal daylighting, is simply about saving lives. In New York City, we have an estimate of 12,000 intersections or more. And currently, the bill would propose that about 1,000 get daylit a year. So what exactly is daylighting? Daylighting is exactly what you just described, which is for the drivers who are driving. No New Yorker wakes up every morning being like, I'm going to maul a child today. I want to kill a senior today.
Right.
No one wants to be a murderer. But if you don't have direct line of sight to that intersection, especially for people who may be smaller, because what we see in intersection vehicle deaths are mostly children because they're not in the line of sight. And this bill would daylit 1,000 intersections a year. So that means that it would take over 10 years to daylight every single intersection in the city of New York. And it would create a 20 feet parameter where people cannot park, so that way the driver can see if someone is about to cross the street when they're making a right turn or a left turn.
Okay. Now, what made you want to do this?
It's very personal to me. My mother, when she was crossing the street in New York City, she was crossing on her right of way, and she was crossing on her green light when a driver who was not paying full attention, speaking to a passenger, drove right over her. I am lucky to still have her, but it took multiple surgeries. And unfortunately, the driver wasn't insured to a premium. So for the second surgery, it wasn't covered at all. We had to pay out of pocket, leaving her in financial debt.
So how would this work, right? First of all, I'm glad your mother is okay now.
Thank you.
And how do you see this kind of playing out in terms of which intersections get first priority if it were to pass?
So it's still up for negotiations, and what I'm proposing is that we go with the top 5 highest number of deaths at intersections to get them daylit first, because we know that we have limited resources. It's going to be 1,000 intersections out of 12,000. So what data shows that the top 5 council districts, mine is unfortunately number 1. What we see is that it's District 26, which is my district, and then it's District 18, District 38, District 44, District 47, 20, 30, and then we have a list. Because we have publicly accessible data on crashmapper.com and other sources that DOT collects where it shows where the highest amount of deaths are. So I think it's common sense that we start with the intersections where it has caused a lot of deaths. I had a few that were very famous in the news because there was a child named Dolma who was mauled by a driver who simply did not see her. And unfortunately, that driver was a mother and she had children of her own in the back of the car.
So are you talking about cars that are illegally parked up to an intersection, or are you talking about just removing some legal parking spaces as well to create more of a line of sight?
It's going to be both, because depending on where you are in the city, for example, in parts of Manhattan, if we walked outside right now, you would see that intersections are already daylit with fire hydrants. by the corner
Yeah.
to create a line of sight where you should not be parking. But that doesn't deter some people from parking there. And if you're in different parts of Queens, you may not have that, but you may have a bus stop instead to prevent you from parking there. So it's going to be a little bit of both depending on where the intersection is.
And what are you hearing from your counterparts in the city council? Is this something that would likely pass?
Right now, we have 26 co-sponsors from my colleagues out of 51. And we also have 3 borough presidents. We have Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn. So we have a very wide range of support. And we're continuing to build our coalition. And we're having conversations to help people understand that this is not overnight. Nothing in government, unfortunately, happens overnight. Even if my bill passes, it's going to take over 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's only $1,000 per year.
And what happens to somebody who is penalized? Is it a ticket? Are they getting towed?
Well, this bill will create hardened intersection. That means that there will be a Jersey barrier or plant pots that create a...
So they can't park there.
Yes. So you physically will not be able to park in those 1,000 intersections. And in a borough like Manhattan, you would have most parts that already have a hydrant there. So you weren't able to park there anyway.
What are you going to say to folks who are like, well, we don't want to lose parking spaces. We're already losing parking spaces elsewhere for bike lanes and city bike and so on and so forth.
There is no price to losing your child or losing your loved one. And if the city of New York can follow suit with most major cities around the globe that have found that universal daylighting is effective, you want to make these decisions as someone who's governing or someone who's in leadership to say, even if you can't see the short-term gain or the long-term gain for your personal self, if you ever have a close incident, because I know that I'm not alone when I speak about if I'm in a rush during rush hour and I go outside in Midtown Manhattan, it's not going to be unlikely that I may get run over by a taxi or another reckless driver while I'm just trying to go my right of way because someone's in a rush.
What's the timeline?
Timeline for passing the bill?
Yeah.
We want to get it passed before the end of the year,
Okay.
so that way we're not restarting the hearing process and going back in the legislative loop.
Let me ask you some other big news that's going on right now. Yesterday, Mayor Adams came out and talked about how he wants to put an executive order in place to ban horse-drawn carriages.
Yes.
This has been very controversial. It's called Rider's Law within the city council, right? Whether or not it's going to happen or not. What's it looking like? Do you guys want to do this?
Look, none of us are Cinderella. I've lived in New York City for a long time. I've never been on a horse-drawn carriage. I don't think most New Yorkers ride it.
I've never been in one.
I don't think it's going to be out of anybody's... It's not going to be painful for anyone to ban these. I do want to look out for those who are unionized who may use this as their livelihood to survive in New York City. So making sure that we're working with the workforce and the labor unions to make sure that there's other development for their jobs in the future. But I'm not against it.
So how does the council feel overall? Because the mayor is saying, well, the council hasn't done it yet. And Curtis Sliwa, candidate for mayor, is out there today urging the city council to pass Rider's Law and get rid of them.
I know that there's a lot of YouTube watchers, viewers for your show especially.
Yeah.
So I'm about to go down this very deep rabbit hole of controversial conspiracies. But I know that there has been whispers about this bill and its connection to large real estate. And that I have to refresh my memory, but I believe that it has to do with not where the horse carriage rides are taking place, which is mostly around Central Park, but it's where those horse carriages are kept at night. And I believe it's along the waterfront on the east side, and that is valuable real estate where some conspiracy theorists will say that this is really about getting that land and being able to develop on it than about the horses themselves.
Yeah, some of them are on the west side too in the 50s.
Yeah, that it's really a smokescreen for what's underneath, which is profit.
Yeah. So is this something, does the bill have sponsors in the council? Do you know?
There's about 12 or 19. Was it 12 or 19?
Yeah.
20?
So,
Okay, so there's 19 sponsors out of 51. That's less than my controversial bill, or what people believe is controversial.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't have that much support, and it may be because of this black hole of conspiracy theorists.
okay, to be continued on that front. So that's not being discussed as coming to a vote anytime soon. Other big topic is the race for mayor. And are you supporting anybody?
Yes, I supported Zohran Mamdani early on in the primary because he's my overlapping state assembly member who I've known for a long time.
Yeah. And what do you think overall of the race? I mean, he's far and away the front runner. There's this whole other idea of somebody coalescing around Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams. What's your take on just the state of affairs?
I think it's most important to know that there's no ranked choice voting this time. So with the same amount of people who are going to be coming to vote as most general elections, maybe with a peak of heightened youth voters as we've seen in the primary, thanks to Zohran's campaigning, I don't really see a path for Andrew Cuomo. And unfortunately, I don't see a path for the existing mayor as well because of all the controversy he's had.
And then within the city council, there's really an election for a city council speaker.
Yes.
Are you throwing support behind anybody?
It's too early. I think there is a lot of decisions to be made. It's contingent on who becomes mayor. I believe that it's going to be Zohran Mamdani, unless lightning strikes and someone dies or something, which I don't think and I don't hope for. And depending on who wins, I think it creates a path for, I believe, another progressive speaker, because we know that any executive that comes into office, as we see in the White House, they're going to have legislative priorities that they're going to want to partner on across the aisle to get it to the finish line. And we know from Zohran Mamdani's campaign that they have a hefty policy goal that may seem like reaching for the stars, which means that it's going to take cooperation both from the state and city level to get it done. So there's going to be a lot of pressure from coalition members, Congress members, and the mayor, the future mayor himself, to make sure that the speaker is someone that he can work with.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like Crystal Hudson might be your choice. When you say
I
progressive.
believe that Crystal Hudson and Amanda Frias are both
Hi, Chris.
pretty strong candidates.
It's
I personally
W,
love Julie Menon as
PIX,
well. She's my neighbor.
No, all lowercase.
And I don't think
W,
Julie's like a Republican or a
PIX,
conservative, so I don't want to
11.
make it seem that way.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see how it shakes out, and you know how it is.
No,
It's not
and
really
then-
a game of merit; it's a popularity contest. You're basically voting for your class president.
Yeah.
So it's always a fun time. I'm sure I'll see you at Somos.
Yes, we'll-
and that's where the rumor mills will start.
know.
And it's just a fun time.
Yeah. All right. Councilmember Julie Wong, keep us posted on all things with your bill, too. It's important.
Thank you so much
Good
for
stuff.
having me.
All right, everybody, and that's going to do it for PIX on Politics Daily. Great conversation today. Don't forget 2 big dates, September 30th, October 3rd. Those are what we're doing over in New Jersey. Across the river, we're doing the live Lieutenant Governor's debate at Kane University, and then the live town hall with Mikey Sherrill and Jack Chittarelli at Kane University. Live audience on both of those. So make sure you stay tuned for those details on how to get tickets, okay? We'll see you next time.